Today's story is in response to a question. Look with me at Luke's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 25. Then an expert in Moses' teachings stood up to test Jesus, and he asked, and here's what prompts the story. Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And to his dismay, Jesus answers his question with a question. Jesus answered him, what is written in Moses' teachings? What do you read there? Well, what's the law say, Jesus says? And the man answered. He knew the answer. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Jesus says, good answer. Good answer. You're right. Do this, and life will be yours, but not to be outlawyered. The expert starts looking for some loophole in the law of God's love. And I love how Luke records this in verse 29. But the man, wanting to show the importance of his question, said to Jesus, and who is my neighbor? And Jesus explains what God's neighborhood really looks like with this story. A man went from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, robbers stripped him, beat him, and left him for dead. Verse 31, by chance, a priest was traveling along that road, and when he saw the man, what did he do? He went around him and continued on his way. And then a Levite came to that place, and when he saw the man, he too went around him and continued on his way. Verse 33, but a Samaritan, as he was traveling along, came across this same man. When the Samaritan saw him, he what? He felt sorry for the man, went to him, and cleaned and bandaged his wounds. And then he lifted him onto his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, the Samaritan took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. And he told the innkeeper, take care of him. And if you spend more than that, I'll pay you on my return trip. And just to make sure he gets it, Jesus asks the expert in the law, now of these 3 men, who do you think was a neighbor to the man who was attacked by the robbers? The expert said, the one who was kind enough to help him. Now, think about this. That's the right answer. His reply was correct. But did you notice that he couldn't find it in his heart to even say Samaritan? That's how he felt about Samaritans. He says instead, the one who had mercy on him. And Jesus told him, go and imitate his example. So to imitate the Good Samaritan, we must have, first of all, eyes of understanding. Eyes of understanding. When the Samaritan saw him, now the priest saw him, but walked around him. The Levites saw him, but walked around him too. But the Samaritan saw him. And if you're going to imitate the Good Samaritan in this story, I told you I was going to be fast. Second, we must have hearts of empathy. Empathy is the ability to share those feelings, to share that hurt. And when the Samaritan saw him, he felt it. He felt sorry for the man. And to imitate this Samaritan, it's not enough just to have a heart of empathy. Hey, man, I'm sorry about what you're going through. I hope things turn around for you. Is it okay if we put your name on the prayer list at the church? No. Third, we must, if you're going to be a neighbor in God's kingdom, if you're going to bypass all those loopholes of love, we must have legs of mercy. When the Samaritan saw him, he felt sorry for the man, and then instead of going around him, what did he do? Say it. Both of you, thank you. He went to him. He went to him. All right, number 4. We must have hands of caring. When the Samaritan saw him, he felt sorry for the man, went to him, and then with his hands, he got in there and got bloody. He cleaned and bandaged his wounds. Finally, number 5, we must have arms of support. When the Samaritan saw him, he felt sorry for the man. He went to him and cleaned and bandaged his wounds, and then he lifted him, took him in his arms, lifted him onto his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. But what's the point? What was the point that Jesus wanted us to get? I think he simply wanted the lawyer, this expert in the teachings of Moses. I think he wanted all of us as Christ followers to understand that there are no loopholes in God's law of love. There's no fine print, church. In the law of God's love, there's no disclaimers. To enter the kingdom of heaven, you must love the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself.